You're going to want to try this. I discovered wood slice ornaments last year, and I'll link the video where I give you a couple ideas of how you can use them. In this video, I'm going to give you more ideas, give you some variations, and hope to inspire you. So these are the wood slice rounds. I got these off of Amazon. You can order different sizes, so check that out. You can also get these at home reno stores now and the Dollar Tree as well. So I sealed them with fluid matte medium after sanding them, and then I am going to gesso one side of them. Now my preferred method is to use an angle brush. I find it very easy to manipulate the gesso or paint, and it just simplifies the process. What I typically do is I'll take all my wood rounds, because I'm typically going to paint it out, and at least one side I am going to give it a coat of gesso. This further seals the wood and primes it and allows you to decoupage on it. If you leave the wood raw and decoupage on it, it is going to distort the colors. So this is the Forest Friends rice paper from NINNYSNAPKINS.com, and I'll link that in the description box. Now, why would you want to use rice paper? Rice paper is more sturdy. It can handle rougher handling than napkin, so it might make it easier. When you are water cutting it, and I recommend water cutting it, use more of a round brush rather than the liner brush. Use more water and let the water sit to break down the fibers of the rice paper. Ninny's Napkins also has some of her very own rice papers that are on wreaths. There are birds, so check it out. You'll find something that you're going to want to do ornaments of. So I'm just working my way around. Now, why am I water cutting instead of cutting with scissors? Because if I cut with scissors, I get a straight edge. This gives me kind of a torn or frayed edge, which makes it disappear more onto the round when you glue it down. You just slowly work your way. Now here I decided if I cut them, kind of rough cut them, it's just going to be easier to manipulate and an easier task to do. So I just go around, I put a fair amount of water and break down those fibers and get that deckled edge. This is why we painted the ornament white, because the rice paper will not show. It's going to be white on white, and you're going to lose the awareness that you've glued something down there. When you are water cutting, you can cut out elements to fit. Now there are all my rounds, and the one side is painted with the gesso, and now I can size them. These rounds aren't a perfect circle, so some are bigger, some are smaller, and this allows me to get the right size visual on the right size round. So I can just addition the different ones and make a decision of whether I like it on this. Now these wood slice rounds, they're very rustic, woodland, vintage. So I would always choose to put something that fits that category as opposed to something modern, but you do you. So here I'm just matching it up, and then once I have it decided, I'm now just going to further edit them. I'm going to cut off more parts, tweak it to make it fit. Now my wood rounds were pre-drilled, so I need to pay attention where that hole is so that I don't inadvertently put the visual upside down. If your round doesn't have a hole, you still may want to drill it first, because if it should crack afterwards or something happens when you drill it, you don't want to put all that work and effort into decorating it. Rice paper is also really good if you want to do this with the family, with children. That might be a little bit rougher, that, you know, a napkin may be more cause for, cause more problems. So once it's dry, I'm using an emery board from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just sanding off the excess. Now you're going to want to make sure that this is completely dry. Now on this side, I am doing these woodland creatures off of this rice paper from Ninny's Napkins, but I'm going to do something different on the other side. In fact, there's probably 4, maybe 5 variations on here to give you ideas of what you can do. So if you love this rice paper, you can absolutely go and order it, but you can also use what you have and make it your own. So at this point, I decided that I didn't want it white. I was going to leave the background very neutral, but I didn't want it white. That was just too much of a contrast, too bright. So I'm coming in with a wash of unbleached titanium, and that just kind of, again, makes it more vintage, more woodland, which is the look that I'm going for. So I'm just going around with a small brush and just dappling in there. And I'm not overly concerned. I'm also coming in, I'm mixing that unbleached titanium with white gesso. And if I go over, like here, the fern, or I'm dabbing that over top of where the edge is. And that helps make the edge less visible, I guess is what I'm looking for. Now, had I known when I started that I wanted it this color, I could have done 1 coat of gesso and then the color of unbleached titanium with white gesso as the second coat and save myself a little bit of work. So if you like that more beige ivory color, then do that before you glue it down and save yourself some work. But you can come in and colorize it at this time too. So again, different options. And sometimes you don't know what you like until you see it. I'm very visual, so it's like, oh no, I thought that was going to work, but it didn't. And here you see me doing 5 different ornaments. And when I'm doing ornaments or sometimes cards, I like to do it more assembly line because you get the paint out, and I would just go and do all the backgrounds and all of that one step. This is also a great thing. Invite a friend over, open up a bottle of wine, and, you know, have the materials there, and everybody can make their own ornament and go home with one. Have kind of a create date, so to speak. So back to prepping these wood slices. I sanded off any parts that were going to come off. Then I sealed both sides with a coat of fluid matte medium. I think I might have lost that in the beginning. I didn't specifically say that, but I sealed it. And that will protect the wood, prevent it from chipping away maybe later. So I did that with all the wood rounds as soon as I got the package last year. So those steps were already done. They were fully dried and sealed, and I could just jump start to the next step. Which is a good idea too if you're doing the create date or doing a family creation. Get some of those preliminary steps done and out of the way. So now I am going to overpaint on top of the rice paper. And I'm taking a mixture of colors that are the same as what I see and some white gesso, thinning down the paint a bit. And you're going to see when I do the fox, I'm going to show a whole lot more detail on that. Then I'm going to the green. You don't have to keep the colors exact. You can match it as close as you can. Add a little brown to the green, adding Naples yellow to the green, kind of dulls it down, gives it more that woodland vibe as well. And you can see how that bear really pops compared to the fox. So let's go through the steps of overpainting the fox. So I'm giving, sometimes it's a wash, sometimes I'm mixing it with gesso. I want this to look more painterly, less like I just glued down rice paper or a napkin. This also allows me to boost the colors and make my focal image stand out a little bit. You can also alter the colors in this process. I'm using a small round brush to doing this. You also saw me on the chest of the fox, I just put white gesso there to brighten and lighten his fur there. So I brighten it up, alter the colors, deepen the colors. I just keep working my way around. And when you're doing the overpainting, you can do just certain parts of it or all of it. Or you can leave it as is. But when I glued it down, I did put a coat of fluid matte medium on top, and that turns the rice paper or the napkin or whatever you've decoupaged down into a non-porous surface. And you want to do that before you do any overpainting. It just prepares the surface. You could also put a coat of clear gesso on top. So I'm just working my way around, deepening colors, brightening the whites, and turning this into an ornament that looks hand painted. So this is perfect for those of us, like me, who really can't draw. So we're using the rice paper as the starting point. I will link the wood slices and the napkin and anything else that I use that's specific to this, should you really like it and want to check into that. So this is where you put on the Christmas music. Now around the edge, I'm taking some black acrylic paint on the blending foam and some brown and going around. That just darkens the edge. I like that look. You can go with the dark brown, you can go with the black and the brown like me. It's up to you. Now I'm grabbing that angle brush and shading around. This is making it a little bit more woodland, a little bit more rustic. And I think it really suits the aesthetic of the wood slice. I will say this, if you like these wood slices, right now in the thick of the season, it's really difficult to purchase them. This is something you might think about purchasing out of season to A, get a good price, and B, make sure you have them. And here I'm just adding a little bit of shading on the focal image. I absolutely adore that fox. And you can see how the top two really pop compared to the ones on the bottom that are simply the rice paper. So overpainting does really add to it. At this point I decided, well, what if I put a sky behind it and colorize the background? I'm really liking the neutral background, but I'm a color person too, so I thought, okay, I'm going to come in with some light blue permanent and paint this out. So this was my trial. Would you paint it blue sky, or would you leave it neutral? Which one do you end up liking? I'm adding some Prussian blue and other colors to it. I never just go in with one color in the background. I like that mottled, mixed, blended look. I think that just adds a whole lot more variation to your overall project. Now these ornaments right here, there's nothing in these focal images that says Christmas. So we're going to tie in Christmas, other than it being a Christmas ornament. But these could be home decor items that aren't on a Christmas tree, I guess. So here I'm overpainting, and I'm really changing what was there. I'm going very, abstract. I want some ground. I want some... So you can take what you started with and completely change it and alter it to fit whatever you want. This one just, it reminds me of an Easter ornament. So here I'm brightening the whites, just working on this rabbit. The flowers on the original focal image were white. I ended up painting them red. I wanted to introduce a little bit of that red into there. And then I wanted to add a little bit more interest to the background, so I grabbed a stamp. I've got white paint and I'm stamping white just to make some interesting patterns in the background so that it's not so flat. Now, if you were colorizing it blue like this, I would do it in this order. Glue down your focal image, then colorize the background. You don't want to put blue behind it and then decoupage either the napkin or rice paper down, because that blue is going to come through. And again, I'm just shading around the wood slice and then shading the focal image. And then finishing the outside the same as I've done on the other ones. A little bit of black, a little bit of brown. Now we are going to do the other side. You could leave that blank, and that is an option. So here is the finished set, all the animals that I painted. I just didn't want to necessarily show the process because the process is the same. So now let's work on the other side. And I didn't want to do too much, so I grabbed this evergreen stencil from the Crafter's Workshop and this small tree. This is the 6-inch one, and I'm going on the wood round, the wood slice. Remember that has a coat of fluid matte medium, and I'm mixing some Hooker's green, Naples yellow, a brown, and I'm just stenciling through there. And I love the simplicity and the look of this. So on this back side, you can put, and you're going to see me, you can put 1 tree, 2, 3. Now here, that wood round is simply the raw wood that has been sealed with fluid matte medium. I do come back afterwards, and I lost that footage, and I give it a wash of thin brown paint. It's like it stains the wood and it deepens it. So in the final pictures that you see at the end, that's what you're going to see. But I love the simplicity of this. That stencil on the wood round, I'm absolutely adore this side of it. In fact, the woodland animal theme, that is kind of a baby gift or a gift and stuff, but this is what I would do on my wood rounds. I would use these. How simple is that? And then I'm edging it the same way I did the front side, so that I'm quickly and easily going through. Now you can use modeling paste. You can colorize modeling paste, the green color, and stencil through that, and that would give texture. I'm mixing up the greens. Now, one of those wood rounds actually was painted gesso on both sides, the one right at the top. So it's on a light background, and I really like that. It was kind of a mistake, but it works. Now this one I am turning in, it is like baby's first Christmas ornament, and it's why I started this project. So I stamped out the phrase, "May the forest be with you," and then I'm placing one tree beside it. So I stamped it out on scrap paper so I know where that saying is. It's a lot of words to get on the ornament. And then I'm just putting one tree. So you see I have some that are 3, some that are 2, some with a white background. And you can put a sentiment on it as well. So there we have it. So on the one side, on the other side is the fox. Because the little guy that this is, he has a woodland theme in his nursery. He's a redhead, so I thought the fox was super cute. So I'm putting black paint, black and brown paint, on my blending foam, and then I'm grabbing my wooden blocks, wooden letter blocks, and just going to stamp on the wood slice. Remember, that's been sealed with fluid matte medium. So if I make a mistake, I can erase, because it's sealed. If you do it on the raw wood, you won't be able to remove it. And I'm just typing or stamping out, "May the forest be with you." I think it would be really nice to do an ornament, and on the one side you have, 1, 2, or 3 trees, different colors of green, and on the other side, "May the forest be with you." Would make a beautiful rustic ornament. And then I stamped out the little guy's name. Even though this was the second side, I love the second side. And so you can do an option. And then I'm giving everything a splatter of gold paint. So I'm going to splatter, let that dry completely, flip it over and splatter the other side. And then to make it a little bit more Christmassy, I grab some cadmium red paint and my stylus, and I'm just dotting like little red light bulbs on the trees. There's the gold there, but the red just really makes it Christmas and warms it up. And here you can see how I've stained the wood by giving it a wash of brown paint. Like I said, these wood slices, you can get them off Amazon. They are now in home reno stores. I think I heard they were at Lowe's or Home Depot. Dollar Tree has them. Check out the sizes. You can get a variety of sizes as well. Now I take my Sakura glaze pen. This is dimensional and glossy. And I'm putting in the date, 2023. Dotting the eyes to give it a little bit of shine. And then I do some faux stitching on both the front and the back. Now you can opt to just do one side of the ornament. I just really like having both of them. So I'm just going around and then just letting that dry. These Sakura glaze, I haven't used these probably in a year. No problem. They last. When you get good quality art supplies, they do last. And there's the finished one. There's the fox, and there's the name and the tree. I just love how this all came together. I think this makes a beautiful little ornament. You could attach this to a gift bag and then they have an ornament. You can add a sentiment to the trees, the word joy. If this wasn't, this evergreen stencil worked so well, made life so easy. I might try it with either stencil butters or modeling paste. So easy. So even if somebody was just doing stenciling, maybe a younger child, or, you know, and then somebody that has more painting skills can do the other one. Here's the white background. I really like that. I think I might do more of those. So thank you so much for watching. I hope I've inspired you and given you some ideas of how to use those wood slice ornaments. Enjoy all the pictures. Let me know which one is your favorite. Until next time, may the forest be with you.